What's up, y'all? I hope all is well. So, in this video, I'm going to do some commentary in reaction to this tweet meme situation thing that I saw on Instagram, but it's a post regarding True Kardashian, who is Khloe Kardashian's daughter. And I'm going to be connecting that with people's reaction to this recent picture of Beyonce that was posted involving her Renaissance tour, which the theme has been silver. Beyonce has been rocking silver literally for the past year. But for some reason, this picture seemed to have triggered the public, triggered people, because people feel as though Beyonce is whitefishing and trying to look like Kim Kardashian, and that she bleached her skin and is trying to look more white. And there is so much irony and hypocrisy that I can comment on in this situation. I literally don't have notes. I'm doing this right off the dome. And it touches on so many things I've been wanting to talk on since I've had this channel and just never got around to doing. You might be thinking to yourself, girl, what connection do these two situations have to each other? Well, let me tell you what it is. I find it extremely ironic that black people mostly, you have people saying that Beyonce, who's a light-skinned black woman, is trying to look white. Yet they are calling Khloe, yet a lot of people, and this has been an ongoing narrative for a while, have the idea that Khloe Kardashian, a white woman, is biracial because they, for some reason, believe that she's OJ Simpson's daughter. Okay, now whatever. I understand the 90s tea behind that and why people think that. I'm into celebrity gossip too. I get it. It's funny, whatever. But I just think that it's a very interesting dynamic considering this climate where there's constantly negative posts being made and smear campaigns going made about actual biracial people, but Khloe Kardashian somehow appears to be a biracial to people and people think that she's a biracial woman, but yet people will see actual biracial people on TikTok and be in the comments gaslighting the fuck out of them, telling them that they're white, that they're lying, demanding to see pictures of their parents. So I just find that very interesting. True Thompson, poor baby, I'm sorry. True Thompson. So you have True Thompson here, and ever since this little girl was born, I haven't wanted to make a video about her because her situation touches on stuff I've already talked about regarding Blue Ivy and things like that, and the way people talk about a lot of mixed and black little girls, and it's really disgusting, honestly. It really is. But ever since this little girl has been born, people had talked about her skin color, her hair texture, her facial features, talked very negatively about her, and it's really disgusting. And there's always this fixation on her skin color and how she looks, and I find it really inappropriate, really nasty. And like I said, it's a very similar situation to Blue Ivy. And I don't really understand at all why they're constantly picking on this little girl in particular, because her and her cousins that are also biracial are the same skin color as her. And I personally believe is because their mothers are part Armenian, and Armenians tend to be, darker hued white people. Armenia is close to the Middle East. A lot of Armenians, and Indians, if you know anything about that, are genetically similar. Whatever. I'm not going to get into that. But yeah, that's personally why I believe, even Kim Kardashian's daughters, Northwest, all of her kids are all like browner. Some of them are lighter, but they're all on the darker spectrum. So I don't really understand why they're constantly singling her out. And I think it's a really pretty look. It's a cute look. They're all really cute kids. She's a really cute little girl. So I don't understand why people are constantly coming at her. And so it's just very interesting how you have a light-skinned black woman being accused of trying to look white. And then you have a little biracial girl that's never really being allowed to, not allowed to be biracial. But number one, people do keep putting that on her, and whatever drama people think is going on with her mother, her grandmother, and OJ Simpson should not be put on her. People shouldn't be making a joke about it. It's not funny. Okay, I just don't think it's funny. And there shouldn't be this hyper fixation on the way she looks. It's really inappropriate. And yeah, people can say, oh, well, they put their kids on the internet and they fix the pictures and whoop-de-whoop-de-whoop. No, it's not okay. It's not appropriate. These are little girls. These are children. Y'all shouldn't be talking about how they look so much, and y'all constantly singling out this little girl, and y'all make it clear that she looks the most black to you, or she looks the most African to you, but yet people want to gaslight us and make us believe that people don't pick on mixed people who look more black. black. And it's clear that y'all do that, because I really mostly only see positive comments about Kim Kardashian's kids. I guess because they have thinner features or whatever. I don't know. But for some reason, people are constantly singling out this girl, and it's not okay. It's really not. And people do come at, North too. They say that she's grown or whatever. And again, I think that's inappropriate. And just the way people talk about, black and mixed girls is just really inappropriate. So first, let's analyze this tweet about True Thompson. So the tweet, I saw it on Instagram, of course. But so the original poster makes this weird ass fucking comment that says, "Wow, Chloe's daughter does not look white. LOL." What the fuck? Anyway, then the person retweets and says, having a half black mom and a full black dad will do that. Period. And I'm just like, what in the world? Like, the first comment was bizarre. The tweet was bizarre. And people will say, oh, I'm reading into it. It's not that deep. Whoop-de-whoop-de-whoop. But I'm going to explain to you why this is problematic, in my opinion. First of all, biracial people are not white. So I don't understand why you would be expecting a child to look white that's not white. I don't understand that. That makes no sense to me. This is just a bizarre comment. I don't know what sparked it. I wish I could see the thread. And either way, I don't give a fuck what's being said in the thread. It's inappropriate for a bunch of adults to be sitting up talking about a child's race and their looks. The picture is a cute picture. It's a cute little girl. She's minding her business. Leave her alone. Like, why are y'all even talking about her? It's weird. It's just weird as hell. And I'm not saying that other races of kids don't have people talking shit about them. And, I'm not saying that it doesn't happen. But I just always see this. Like, I don't know why people of all races, in this case, because I am going to say I have seen people talk about, white people talk about True Thompson and Blue Ivy. I don't know why people of all races feel the liberty to talk about little girls of African descent. It's inappropriate, and I think that that's because of the adultification, and this is proven in statistics too, and it has effects in school, it has effects in the criminal justice system, it has effects in sexual assault. It plays a lot. So it's not just, me getting triggered by a tweet. Like, it's just inappropriate. And then this expectation of mixed people to look white or you are gonna look more beautiful or be more acceptable if you look white, or at least like it's obvious that you have white in you. Which, I mean, if you know what to look for, to me the little girl looks clearly biracial. But what this woman really means coded is saying she's not super high yellow. She doesn't have very, very loose hair that's light. She doesn't have the stereotypical mixed kid or biracial look, which none of their kids do. So that's why I'm like, I don't understand what the hyperfixation on this little girl is, other than what, that she has a wide nose and a tighter curl texture. Like, what is really the conversation here? So it just shows y'all's anti-blackness, really. And so what are y'all basically saying? What, that y'all would be saying she was cute if she had blue eyes and blonde hair and a loose curl texture? Like, what are y'all saying? Y'all saying y'all speaking what y'all really feel, and y'all just be revealing how you really feel about stuff, and I think that how they speak about mixed people, because it's more acceptable to make anti-black comments about mixed people and mixed children, unfortunately, because it's more acceptable, then you can really see people's true anti-blackness. And so with not analyzing these types of situations and not showing the way that people's anti-blackness comes out towards mixed and light-skinned people, that's even not showing a way of showing anti-blackness too. I get so many comments on my videos. Like, honestly, it's so weird to me, and it's honestly disturbing to me how, like, I can post a video about light-skinned black people, about Hispanics, about whatever. Nobody says anything. I don't get comments. I post something about biracial people or something positive about biracial people or something in defense of them. It's all these negative comments, all these people saying, oh, well, they have privilege, so, that's why they should feel XYZ, and just people being triggered and mad. And I'm just like, where is this even coming from? Like, it just doesn't even make any sense. So I feel like because y'all know that that's a group that is socially acceptable to make very harsh commentary on, because there's this weird narrative going on, people are doing this. And so, like, if this comment was made about a little black girl who was dark skinned, a fully black girl, who was a daughter celebrity, I'm not saying a whole bunch of people would come to her defense, because we know for a fact that brown skin and dark skin little black girls get talked negatively about as well. Well, she's brown skin, but you get my point. Little girls that are not biracial, and people also don't come to their defense, or they see it as socially acceptable. I do understand that, but at the same time, let's be real. We do know that in the social climate we're in, it's acceptable to talk negatively about about biracial people specifically. And honestly, like, you're just a sick motherfucker if you look at this cute picture and think that, like, wow, her daughter does not like look white. Like, why is that even your expectation? You're a weirdo. Like, for real. And just sit back and let people expose themselves. And I think that that's a great thing about the internet. It's really exposed a lot to me about how, like, degenerate and weird people really are, because people think they have the, you know, anonymity so they can say whatever. But no, bitch, we got you. Like, you're a fucking weirdo for this comment. But anyway, so let's go into what the person retweeted, who said having a half black mom and a full black dad will do that. So make the logic make sense here. When y'all have real life biracial people on the internet or on TikTok talking about their experiences or how they feel about stuff, y'all discredit them. You don't want to hear them. You gaslight the fuck out of them. Constantly have something negative to say that's rooted in stereotypes. But yet y'all are convinced. Mind you, another thing that happens is that biracial people who are very light skinned or very, very racially ambiguous, they get dragged a lot on the internet if they talk about being biracial or talk about being proud to be mixed. And God forbid if they express being proud to be black and they see themselves as a black person, oh my God, they're dragged. They are dragged all over these internet streets. And so it's just really interesting that they keep trying to put biracialness on Khloe Kardashian, who's a whole ass white woman. And like, people can say it's a joke, but like, okay, fine, whatever, it's a joke. Y'all fucking drag it though. Anytime she posts a picture with a curly wig on or with her hair crinkled or she got a tan, it's a whole bunch of black people in the comment section saying, oh, I see the blackness in her. I see OJ, da 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 da. Like, it's just weird as hell. And it's like, they're, whether y'all want to say that the look is artificial or not, like I said, they're Armenian. So they are spicy white women. They do have an ethnic look to them. So if she looks like she could be mixed with something, that is fucking why. They're part Armenian. Duh. And that's why their mixed kids are a little bit darker than biracial kids who have a white American parent who comes from a different part of Europe. It's just fucking genetics. Like, you know, I'm interested in genetics, so I don't mind talking about it, but I'm also not getting on the internet and weaponizing it against other mixed people as a means to antagonize them with. Like, it's just weird. Like, I just don't think it's appropriate. And so I just think it's weird that in a climate where it's like all this smoke for real life biracial people, y'all be so quick to put biracialness on a white woman. And then so it's like, let me get this straight. Kim Kardashian is blackfishing, but y'all think Khloe Kardashian is half black. Like, it's just weird. The logic doesn't make sense, and nobody takes these arguments seriously. And I'm sorry, but this is a huge reason as to why people cannot take black people seriously, because you talk out the side of your face. You can't in one breath have all this smoke for actual biracial people and constantly discrediting them and pretend like you don't understand anymore what the concept of being biracial is or why they're considered part of the black community. All of a sudden there's all this confusion about this, but somehow people can have somehow decided that Khloe Kardashian is OJ's daughter. It just doesn't make any sense, and I don't think it's funny, and it's getting old because you're putting that on her daughter, and it's just silly. Like, it's just, and it's like, this person shouldn't even like respond to that comment, in my opinion. Anytime an adult is engaging in a discussion about a child on the internet, you're fucking weird. I don't care. So I just feel like in this climate, it's just a weird comment to make. And then, like I'm saying, nobody's saying that Kim Kardashian is half black. Y'all accept that Kim Kardashian's kids are biracial, but somehow True Thompson isn't biracial, even though she's literally the same skin color and looks just like her cousins. Why? Because she has a round nose and has more ethnic features. Like, y'all are so fucking featurist. And it's just weird as fuck. Like, that doesn't make any sense. Why are they all the cousins are the same skin color? Because they all are part Armenian. So why are y'all constantly trying to say that this girl has a biracial mother? She does not. She's biracial. Leave her alone. Mind your business. Worry about your genetics and what's going on in your lineage. Stop worrying about other people. Like, it's fucking weird. And so, yeah, I just think that should be really pointed out. Like, y'all constantly have something to say about actual real life biracial people, but are trying to put biracialness on this white woman. And it's not funny anymore. It's really not. But anyway, moving on. But yeah, I've been wanting to like mention that for a while. Like, I really don't think that is cool. Like, this singling out of like biracial people, I just don't think it's cool. Like, and it's really interesting to me that they put the same stereotypes and weaponize the same talking points against all different groups of mixed people. They say the same thing about biracials that they say about Dominicans, and they say the same things about Dominicans that they said about Creoles, and they say the same thing about Creoles that they say about light-skinned people when in situations that it suits them. It's really interesting. So on this channel, you know, I try to give my analysis on the way people of African descent that are mixed are discussed, talk about primarily the female within the female experience. And so that is something I've noticed. In particular, I do notice that there's um a particular reaction in response to biracial people in specifically. And personally, I believe that that is because biracial people are not as collectivized. So basically, there's more free reign to talk negatively about biracial people. In some situations, light skinned black people will throw light skinned black people under the bus. I've seen it. But and a lot of times, if people were talking about light skinned black people the way they were talking about biracial people, the response would be very different. And that's why you see a lot of light-skinned black people jumping in on these talking points and narratives, even though in retrospect they're used against them as well. And these same people who have these same ideas about biracial people would reject them as well, or would have the same opinions of them as well. Light-skinned black people will agree with this because they feel as though, oh, well, they're not talking about me, and they're kind of just happy to not be on the chopping block, and they're happy trying to separate from it. But in reality, you're not separated. It's all lip service. They might be talking negatively about Dominicans one day, biracials one day, light skins another day, but really they really generalize us all with this same negative brush as people of African descent. And so I do think it's important that we kind of do start to see ourselves in a collective way in that sense, because how do you know that person's not going to feel the same way about you? They are a lot of the time. It may not be in the same exact way, but yeah, let's be real. It's easier to talk negatively about biracial people, and nobody's really going to say anything in the comment section or make a video in response a lot of the time. And if they do, because of the social climate and because of the peer pressure that's used, and the shaming and the, oh, well, if you respect yourself as a black woman, you wouldn't uphold the one drop rule, and you're erasing yourself, and you don't have respect if you call a biracial person black. All of these are shaming tactics to try to get people to think a certain way. And so it's a manipulative way to try to say, oh, well, those Dominicans, they think this way. Oh, well, these biracials, they think that way. Whole time, they're literally saying the same thing about everybody if you really sit back and listen closely. So I just wanted to point that out, and that's something I particularly noticed. There are literally videos I put up that I had to disable the comments because it was just a whole bunch of negativity for no reason. The biracial person was not being disrespectful. They were not being colorist. They were not being racist to black people. They're not saying nothing negative, and there's a whole bunch of negativity on there, and I just didn't like the shit because it's supposed to be a safe place for all black and mixed women of all backgrounds. I'm not going to allow people to disrespect biracial women. I'm not going to let people disrespect dark-skinned women. I'm not going to let people disrespect immigrant women, non-black women, whatever. I'm not going to allow that shit. So if I got to take a video down and save the comments, that's what I'm going to fucking do. But yeah, so let's move on to Beyonce. Probably will be wondering, like, okay, how do these two situations connect? Well, I'll tell you how they connect. I just think it's a very interesting irony that people are constantly accusing, and I agree that the Kardashians do appropriate and culturally appropriate and, try to look like they could be, mixed with black or something. I agree with all of that. But I think it's interesting that people talk a lot about that, especially people within the black community talk a lot about that. But yet they're accusing Beyonce of trying to look like Kim Kardashian, all because she has on a bleached wig and is in front of some white light. Really, really take that in. People are dying for what they believe in and for their culture and their homeland and who they are. And y'all are on social media chit-chatting about wigs and weaves and people's skin tone. Like, are you shitting me? And I really think that needs to be pointed out. Like, it was never that serious. And it really must be a slow news week if this is what people are talking about. Like, you gotta be kidding me. Like, I saw the picture before when people started talking about it, and I thought nothing about it. I don't see nothing spectacular about the picture. It looks very average and normal. I don't see what the big deal is. And I still don't see what the big deal is. And I really do feel like this is one of those, publicity schemes that I be talking about where they start a colorism conversation just to generate publicity and attention to a post. Like, so let me get this straight. Kim Kardashian's biracial niece is not allowed to actually be biracial because y'all think she's too dark and too African looking to believe that she's actually biracial. But y'all are accusing a light-skinned black woman of trying to look like Kim Kardashian because she has on a blonde wig and is in front of some bright light, which Kim Kardashian doesn't even wear blonde wigs. So why even the Kim Kardashian comparison? Like, of all people to even choose, they all do their makeup the same way. They all like wear their hair the same way. Like, it's definitely a look today. So it's like, I get what they're saying, but she doesn't look like Kim Kardashian, quote unquote. She looks like her fucking self. She just looks like she has her winter tone and she has on a blonde wig that's not really the best for her tone, but it is what it is. And she's in front of a silver, which does a lot to the skin tone as well. And it's just like, are you motherfuckers that bored? And the skin bleaching allegations, really? Like, she's been wearing silver and been in front of this like really washed out bright light that's very stroby. She's been doing this for the past year because of her Renaissance tour. Why are people acting brand fucking new? I don't understand that. And it's like, it's just a wig. It's just not that deep. And so you're really accusing her of wanting to be white simply because she has on a wig and is in front of some light. That's fucking stupid. And it's just, to me, is that a projection? Because where are you even getting that from? And it's like, Beyonce of all people, of all the stuff that Beyonce does, and this shows you that no matter what light skin and mixed people do, you will never be able to fucking win. Never. Beyonce made a whole album praising Africa, has made numerous songs praising dark skin and brown skin and the motherland and all this type of stuff. And she always giving back to the black community, always uplifting, always speaking proudly about being a black woman. But the minute she throws on a blonde wig in Christmas time, in winter, and we don't know where she was. She could have been in Switzerland chilling somewhere. We don't know. She could have been in cold weather. Maybe she hasn't gotten a lot of sun this year because she's been on tour. You think she has time to be out sunbathing and getting a tan, and she's out on tour working her ass off all fucking year? Like, it's getting me heated because it's so ridiculous. And it's like, now I have to take time out of my day when I could be talking about a topic that's actually more important. Now I gotta take time to address this type of bullshit because there's barely any counter narratives to it. So most people, they get online, this is all that they see. They're not gonna see an alternative opinion like me or other mixed and light-skinned constant creators. Like, really just think about that irony. The same group of people who is constantly accusing this Armenian woman, Kim Kardashian, always crying about how she took their Bantu knots and their niggas. But anyway, it's just ridiculous. Y'all constantly talking about this woman, and now y'all are really comparing a fucking queen. Y'all comparing a blueprint queen such as Beyonce to Kardashians. Are you shitting me? How disrespectful. Like, you comparing a very talentful woman that is a vanguard, you know, for our generation. You know, I'm not saying she's the first to do everything, but Beyonce is the biggest black woman in our generation. Y'all comparing her to a white woman who's famous for a sex tape. Really think about that. How disrespectful is that? What you will not see is white people sitting up comparing Taylor Swift to Corinne Steffens. That's what you won't see. You'll never see white people accusing a white woman of wanting to be Mexican because she has a straight blonde, because she has a straight black wig on or something. Oh, she dyed her hair black, so she wants to be Mexican. She wants to be Asian because she has on a black wig. You'll never see white people doing that. It's stupid shit. Like, and it's a projection of their own insecurities, I feel like. Because I've never seen a picture of a black woman with a certain hair texture or eye color thought, oh, she wants to be white. Now, I'll think, okay, she wants to play with her look, but that's her damn business. I do that too. I change my hair color and do certain stuff. Every group of women does that, but y'all want to fixate on black women and hyper analyze when black women do it like a bunch of fucking weirdos. And then this person says, she's looking like Becky with the good hair. And that's what I'm talking about. They love triangulating black women against other races of women. They're always going to try to make the black woman feel less than the white woman, or the whatever woman is lighter than her in the case of darker brown skin women. And what is Beyonce doing that other black women are not doing? Other black women are wearing blonde wigs and standing in front of washed out light. So why does it matter when she's doing it? And why is it a big deal? And now somehow self-hate and the want to be light and white when she's doing it. Like, they were all in front of the same light. That's what I find so ironic. It was a photo shoot between all the women in Destiny's Child. Beyonce had her own single picture. All of them were under that same light, but they have different skin tones. And that is literally how Beyonce's skin color shows up in the light. And first of all, how is that not considered colorism, to where they're always hypo-analyzing light-skinned women that are red bones? If we get a little lighter, all of a sudden they accuse us of that we we were never light skinned, that we're liars and we're light skinned frauds if we get a tan. But then if we don't have a tan, then somehow we're bleaching, or we're trying to be white, or we're lying about being, part black or whatever. Like, it's always these accusations and this hyperfixation on usually women who are like in that, like, honey brown, I can't even describe it, but I just call them red bones. But, women that are like light skinned but more on the browner side. And this is what I'm talking about. They hyperfixate and make anti-black comments about browner and darker mixed people, such as Thompson, because they think that we're fair game. And, I don't really, I can't even spend time breaking down the psychology behind that right now, but I noticed that a lot, and other content creators have spoken on this as well. And I'm not saying that women that are not lighter don't get, that are like yellow bones or like a lot lighter, or like racially ambiguous, don't have to deal with that as well. It's just done in a different way. And so because I have like a similar skin tone to Beyonce, where I'm a little bit tanned, because there's so much variation in our skin tone, and definitely, especially in different lights at different times of year, depending on different skin routines you're using, so many different variables, and that goes for any skin tone of any race. Different variables can play into how somebody looks in that light. The way they edit pictures, they touch a lot of pictures up in magazines. They do a lot of stuff to these pictures. And so it's really not fair, and it's not cool to hyperfixate on these women's skin tones and point them out and accuse them of skin bleaching and all this type of shit. It's really corny. And I don't think that is cool. And it's like, if you don't want it done to you, don't do it to somebody else. And I don't think that it should happen to brown skin or dark skin women as either at all. So don't do it on the other side as well. And I don't think that people should feel like, oh, well, they're mixed or they're light skinned, it's fair game, it's fine, they get so much praise, it doesn't matter, I can say whatever about their skin color. No, if you can know how it feels to have somebody hyper fixated on your skin color and making weird ass comments about your skin color, why would you do it to somebody else? It's just... Now look at these comments. So this person says, the other members ate her up at her own premiere. She looks washed out. And so, like I said, it was the other Destiny Child members there too. Chloe and Chloe, Kelly and Michelle. And of course, they look stunning, beautiful, whatever. But it's just like, it's so interesting to me how they're also constantly pitting, particularly Kelly and Beyonce against each other, always triangulating them against each other. I'm constantly seeing memes about saying, oh, people are always talking about Beyonce, but Kelly looks 10 times better, or shit like that. And it's just so silly and stupid. It's like, they're both beautiful women. You don't need to compare them to uplift one to put down the other. And if I was Kelly Rowland, and I know for a fact because she's expressed this in interviews, it's offensive to her to constantly be bringing up Beyonce and to constantly only be complimenting her in comparison to Beyonce. Okay, and that's the weird shit that the black community does. They love comparing women, especially based on skin tone and looks. And so that's why comments like this come from. And so people will say, oh, they always only take the light-skinned girl side and only praise her and blah, blah, blah. But they love making comments like this too, and making backhanded comments saying, oh, well, she looks washed up. They ate her up at her own premiere. And it's like, bro, if you have nothing positive to say, don't say anything at all. It's like they're always just looking for something negative to say. And I see comments like this often, and it's like I notice that a lot. It's like they purposely, it's like they want to use that triangulation there to give one skin tone a confidence boost over the other skin tone at their convenience, but it's never genuine. Like, they never just want to make black women feel good about themselves. They only want to make you feel good about yourself at the expense of other black women. It's like they have these fantasies that particularly light-skinned women are sitting up pressed about white women and dark-skinned women, because I see them making comments like this about light-skinned women being jealous of dark-skinned women too. They'll say stuff like, oh, she's only saying, they only saying that because they're secretly jealous of dark-skinned women, and these light-skinned women are not your friends, they're secretly jealous. And it's like, you cannot say that light-skinned women are conceited but we're secretly jealous at the same time. It makes no fucking sense. So it's like they really want to believe that we're pressed about all these other groups of women, but at the same time they say that we're conceited too. It just doesn't make any sense. Like, the arguments never make sense. So while I was recording, we had some breaking news where the mother queen, Miss Tina, actually spoke on the situation, which I was actually very surprised about. And this is actually a win for us getting our message out. And, those of us who make content about, mixed and light skin experiences and, advocating for what's going on, speaking against a lot of these narratives, this is a big deal, I feel like, because this is bringing this issue to a public stage and to a large scale. The whole world is seeing this. Not that they weren't seeing it before, because it's on the internet, because it's there, but, it wasn't as, mainstream. And I'm talking about mainstream across the board, not just mainstream in like the black sectors, basically. So I was very surprised, but also like glad that she spoke on this and addressed this. And I mean, these allegations and these narratives have been going on for years. So I think that we should address this. And I don't think that there's anything wrong with speaking out and mentioning how we're starting to feel about this. And honestly, recently, when I took my little break, I really was considering not really talking about these topics anymore, like not even posting on my channel that much anymore. Like I was going to keep it up, but I was just starting to feel a little like, starting to feel like maybe it was a lost cause. And then I started to notice, like, on my personal social media, amongst people I actually knew in real life, I started to notice, like, them kind of making comments about what's going on and pushing back on it and calling out, a lot of this lightism and this stuff that, is going on in these narratives. And I thought that was really interesting. And like anytime I saw somebody that I knew talking about this, I would comment or like heart it something, just show support, because you got to be brave. A lot of people would end up taking it down or something, but just saying something is showing me that people are observing what's going on. And even if people are not directly responding and speaking that direct about it, people see what's happening. And I really like how Miss Tina addressed the situation. So let's look at Miss Tina's response. So Miss Tina Knowles says, and just to give context, so what I'm reading is the caption under a reel that she posted of Beyonce. But let's read what Miss Tina Knowles said. So she says, came across this today and decided to post it after seeing all of the stupid, ignorant, self-hating, racist statements about her lightening her skin and wearing platinum hair, wanting to be white. She does a film called The Renaissance, where the whole theme is silver, with silver hair, a silver carpet, and suggested silver attire, and you bozos decide that she's trying to be a white woman and is bleaching her skin. How sad is it that some of her own people continue the stupid narrative with hate and jealousy? Duh. She wore silver hair to match her silver dress as a fashion statement, clown. Alien superstar, duh. What's really sad is that a white woman had the audacity to reach out to Neil, Beyonce's hairstylist. She was from TMZ. So this white woman reached out to Neil, Beyonce's hairstylist. She was from TMZ, to say that fans are saying that she wants to be white and she wanted to get a statement about it from Neil. Well, that made my blood boil. That this white woman felt so entitled to discuss her blackness. What's really most disappointing is that some black people, yes, you bozos that's on social media, lying and faking and acting like you're so ignorant that you don't understand that black women have worn platinum hair since Etta James days. I just went and looked at all the beautiful, talented black celebrities who have worn platinum hair, and it has been just about every one of them at time or another. Are they all trying to be white? I'm sick and tired of people attacking her. Every time she does something that she worked her ass off for and is a statement of her work ethic, talent, and resilience, here you sad little haters come out the woodwork. Jealousy and racism, sexism, double standards. You perpetuate those things instead of celebrating a sister or just ignoring her if you don't like her. I'm sick of you losers. I know that she is going to be pissed at me for doing this, but I'm fed up. This girl minds her own business. She helps people whenever she can. She lifts up and promotes black women and underdogs all the time. Count. And I haven't always agreed with Miss Tina, especially when she made that mammy ass documentary caping for black male degeneracy. But she was spot on about this. Okay, I gotta give her flowers for this. She spoke truth to power here. And you know what? Miss Tina has probably been dealing with this her entire life. I can only imagine what Miss Tina's experiences have been like. I've mentioned before, a lot of the women in my family look like Miss Tina. One of my own grandmothers looks like her. And even to this day, I hear little comments from certain family members and, notice little shit. So these women are in their 70s and that shit is never ending. So can you imagine? So I can only imagine what story she got. So I'm not surprised that it came out this way. And I think she really articulated herself really well and made great points. And I also want to discuss the part where she was upset about the white woman asking about Beyonce's blackness. And this is what I find interesting. This white woman felt comfortable to reach out about Beyonce's blackness because black people are always online discussing mixed and black and light-skinned black people's blackness online all the time, and it's constantly a public conversation that even they include white people in sometimes. So why wouldn't she feel comfortable talking about it? Are black people not sitting up comparing Beyonce to a white woman, saying that she wants to look like her? So why wouldn't a white woman feel comfortable to ask y'all about her blackness? Her own people are sitting up here comparing her to her. So why wouldn't she? And that's what I find very ironic about the whole situation. But yeah, I like that she mentioned it's that she said here you sad little haters come out the woodwork, jealousy, racism, sexism, double standards, you perpetuate those things instead of celebrating a sister or just ignoring her if you don't like her. Exactly. It's always a whole bunch of crabs in the barrel and hater shit, and that's what I've been trying to stress this entire time. That really is all what it is, because we see it in full-fledged display and we make an example out of it in our content all the time. So Miss Tina is spot on about what she's saying, and ditto. And it's like, isn't it interesting that across generations light-skinned women are saying the same thing and making the same observation? So everybody cannot be lying. Like, why, and I've mentioned this before, why my grandmother got the same stories and the same experiences that I got 60 years later. And then on TikTok, I'm seeing the same thing with people that was born 10 years after me. It's ridiculous, and it's a never ending cycle. So eventually shit's gonna hit the fan and people are gonna address it. And yeah, sometimes light skinned and mixed women don't have the best, don't address it in the best way, but you're gonna eventually blow up if you're being antagonized about something for years and they are not even allowed to speak about it because you're gaslit and told it was not a big deal, or if you do speak about it, you're seen as problematic. And so it's like, eventually, yeah, you're going to come out and say something. And I feel like that's how Miss Tina feels. And I'm sure that it also bothers Beyonce as well, which is probably why she's speaking on it. So it's probably clearly something they've been having to deal with as a family, I'm sure, for a long time. And we already know that this has been a narrative in the media for a long time. And it's ridiculous, silly, and it is racist and sexist and misogynistic. It most certainly is. And I don't see why it's not seen as racist, because it's not appropriate to discuss other people's skin color and racial background in the same way it is for Afro mixed people. And think about this military mindfuck. So it went from people constantly debating if Beyonce was light skinned or not, because people try to put out this idea that either she's tanned, or for some reason all of these other food names and special colors get brought up whenever it's time to talk about if red bones are light skin or not. Mind you, nobody says, oh, you're just a light brown Indian. Oh, you're a caramel Indian. You've never heard that before. You've never heard somebody say they're a caramel light brown Mexican. No, they're just morenas, brown, whatever. But for some reason, again, when it's people who are mixed with black, now there's all these debates. So it went from, we can't even be honest that Beyonce is a light-skinned black woman, to now she's trying to be white. How is that not completely a psychological mindfuck and just torture? How did it go from on Tuesday she's not even light-skinned to now she wants to be a white woman? Which one is it? And then they're like, oh, she wasn't even that light. So which one is it? And it's just so interesting how times change, because it's been well documented that in the late 90s and early 2000s, they were actually telling women like Beyonce, Aaliyah, Raven, Keely Williams, they were telling a lot of light skinned black women to tan. I'm sure they were telling Maya and stuff the same thing. Christina Milian, I'm sure they were telling them all the same thing, but they were making them intentionally darker because they were saying that they would not that somebody who's light skinned would not do well being marketed to the black community. But yeah, so that was actually happening, and that's a Raven. Raven Simone has talked about this for sure as well, and I can kind of see it. And I also think like it was also just the look of the era. But if you look at a lot of those women, they look super bronzy. You can tell they're like really tanning, and I just thought it was just maybe because they was in California or whatever. But no, they were really telling them they had to darken their skin to be more accepted, which I don't necessarily agree with. I feel like that was the white executives projecting what they think onto them. I don't think that. But this is something that happened. And so now that Beyonce's older and she has more control of her image, and also makeup has changed, you know, your body changes. I spoke about this earlier. You know, she could live somewhere different. Who knows what's going on? You know, also the way we do, like I said, the way we do makeup is different. Skincare is different now. A lot of different variables. So it's just really obnoxious to continuously, like, same thing with Nicki Minaj. She don't even do her makeup the same way she did it when she first came out. Once you have more money, more access to better makeup, more equipment, you're gonna start looking different as well. And that's what happens. So to constantly be making videos over 10 years, over analyzing these women, talking about how they look, accusing them of bleaching, is really obnoxious and disrespectful. And the same thing happened with Toni Braxton. When this woman has, I think she has lupus or sickle cell, one of them. This woman is literally sick, and then people were sitting up here kikiing about the fact that she got a little lighter and pale, because when she's literally sick, but we don't know what's going on with her health wise. And I just feel like that was disgusting when people did that. But Toni Braxton has always been on the lighter end of the spectrum to me, and it seems like when I look at pictures of her from the 90s, it seemed like to me they was telling her to brown her skin as well. And they was doing this, I know for a fact Tamar was doing that, because she looks a lot darker. So that was the look of the time, to be more brown skin in the 90s. So that's why people were doing that. So to be saying now like, oh, these women are bleaching, when they were never dark skinned to begin with. For the 2010s to come around and the Kardashians to really come up by, you know, being able to utilize their racial ambiguity and you know, sometimes appropriate the looks of light skinned and mixed women to advance themselves. And you know, honestly, that's their business. You know, whatever, like, you know, whatever. But that happening, and then it's a bunch of black people saying, oh well, this actual light-skinned black woman, she's trying to look like the woman who appropriated your look to get successful. That's who you're trying to look like her. It's just like really disrespectful. Yeah, I feel like that's a really interesting dynamic, that like now light-skinned and biracial women are really being like kind of bashed on the internet, and saying that we are contributing to all this colorism, and like, you know, that our behavior is so problematic. And it's like when we see all of these white women getting successful from their people and black people as well by appropriating our look, but it's like we're kind of being scapegoated for kind of, I feel like, what they're doing and for what black men are doing. So what Miss Tina is saying about it being anti-blackness and racism is literally absolutely right, because that is what it is. Because you're basically saying a white woman can be you better than you can be you. You want to look like her. She spent 10 years trying to look like Beyonce, but now you, Beyonce, who's accomplished so much in your career, you trying to look like Kim K. Like, really think about that. Are you trying to look like her because you got on a filter and a blonde wig that neither y'all have naturally? Like, it's not even like they're even comparing her to a white woman that's a natural blonde. And just to expand more on that, I remember that Winter Blanco, she's a biracial woman who's like very racially ambiguous, very light skinned. And they on TikTok were trying to say that she was lying about being biracial, that she's really a white woman pretending to be half black. And people were really attacking her, like, you know, making up stories, and she had to issue multiple statements and show her parents And you know, kept trying to prove to people that they were that she was biracial, and they just kept gaslighting her and attacking her. And I just felt really bad for her. And it speaks to what I talked about before in other videos, where like there are things that racially ambiguous people have to go through and deal with that light-skinned black people do not have to deal with and experience. And sometimes we have it easier in certain ways. So when people just automatically make it seem like just because somebody's racially ambiguous, they're always going to have an easier time in life, that's not true, because she probably has had to deal with her whole life, because of the way she looks, people constantly questioning her, not trusting her, saying that she's lying, constantly having to prove who her parents are, who she is. And that shit gets so fucking exhausting. Like in the few times I've had to deal with that, it's fucking annoying to me. And if you look like somebody who's not easily placed in one community, which American people want to do, they want to be able to easily put somebody in a race, and if they cannot do that, it makes them uncomfortable. And that's why mixed people invoke the reaction from a lot of monoracial people in America that they do, black and white, because people in America get uncomfortable if they cannot place you in a group. But anyway, so when you're dealing with that your whole life, it gets really exhausting. And this woman was really being attacked, really because people just didn't like that she, or can't comprehend that she's biracial and how she looks. And so it's like when you have women who are actually biracial, who are mixed, that are having to do with really real life racism on the internet, and being harassed and lightism on the internet, and having to issue statements and prove themselves to fucking strangers because people are harassing them. And how do you think that's gonna affect her mental health? When, if you don't like her, if you don't see her as black, or you don't see her as part of the black community, just ignore her. You don't have to support her. I didn't even know who Winter Blanco was until people started attacking her in that situation. But y'all sitting up here saying that comparing Kim Kardashian to Beyonce. And it's like, it's just disgusting. So it's like, it just stresses when I'm saying that white women who are taking on a mixed black aesthetic, or a biracial look, they get praised by their own people and by black people. They get rewarded financially, or in the form of, you know, fame or whatever. A lot of times Instagram followers, a platform, whatever, and they get elevated. But women that are actually part black, or actually black and just light skinned, they're devalued, they're disrespected, they're told that they're not authentic, they're constantly compared to women that look nothing like them, or said that they're not real. And you know, it's disrespectful as hell. So I just wanted to point that out, because even biracial people that are racially ambiguous, they're constantly being questioned about who they are, and being accused of being white people who are lying about being mixed. And I think that's super disrespectful, because you can look at Winter Blanco and see that she's not white. Even if you didn't know that she was exactly half black, you can tell that she's not freaking white. So it's just, they just want to just gaslight you to death in any way that they can, no matter how you look. And I just find that really disrespectful, that people that are actually mixed or biracial are not even allowed comfortably to call themselves that. You know, going back to the True Thompson situation, or even the Winter Blanco situation, depending on how they look, if they don't fit people's idea of what a biracial person is supposed to look like, or, you know, whatever, then they're harassed about it and gaslit to death about it. But then we have white women changing their look to look like us and being praised for it. And I'm not saying be jealous or be resentful towards those women for being able to do that, because every woman can get her bag and, you know, get a platform and get money from being beautiful. Like, they're not taking nothing from light skinned, mixed women, black women, anything. Like, so we shouldn't even care about what they're doing. But I just think that it should be pointed out, because when people are sitting up telling you that you have light skin privilege, or that you're going to have an easier time in life because you're racially ambiguous, or because you're biracial, which is something that people are literally telling us, we need to point this out. So only the people who are mixed with black are the only people who are getting treated this way. But yet we're being told, oh no, it's not racism, you have light skin privilege. Fuck out of here. Like, get out of here. And we're not saying that colorism does not exist, but just because somebody may benefit from colorism does not mean that they don't experience racism, and racism completely overpowers colorism. And so before I wrap this video up, I want to touch on the bleaching narrative that's very prevalent online. And honestly, I want to say that this is like one of those very online narratives, because I don't hear people talking about bleaching in real life, but it's definitely very prevalent online. And it's a weird it's a weird dynamic because there are two different perspectives I want to talk about it from. I want to talk about it from this perspective as it being weaponized against light-skinned women that are red bones, and I use that specifically because where we fall in the colors range, it's a lot of different like color ranges depending on the time of year, what type of makeup you use, or how you do your makeup, different things, what type of lighting you're in. And so people like use that to like basically pick at us, because of our skin color, because of how we look. And we see it in real time with Beyonce, and this constant accusation of her lightening or darkening her skin. Same thing with Nicki Minaj and Rihanna. And it's all women of a similar skin tone. And I want to point out a similar narrative of like this, like accusing light skinned and mixed and biracial women of being dishonest about who we are. We're not being honest about being biracial. You're not really biracial. Your father is biracial. You're white. You're not really light skinned. You're bleaching. You're brown skin, but you're bleaching. Like all of these accusations all the time of you being fake, of you being dishonest, of you not being truthful about how you really look, who you really are. And this is a constant narrative that has come up in history. Even I've talked about this like with the stereotype, a lot of stereotype things like that. But there's this constant narrative of like light skinned women not being honest, being distrustworthy, being shifty. This is a constant narrative, and not being honest about who we really are and how we really look. So this is something that constantly comes up, and and it just comes up in different ways. So that's why I use the example of like Winter Blanco. But also with the bleaching, I also feel like it's just something people say to be antagonistic, because what would somebody who is already a red bone or on the lighter end of the spectrum, what would somebody gain from bleaching their skin? First of all, that's an investment of money, time, and energy. Why would somebody do that? So it's not even logical. Like, I'm really generally balanced about the whole like skin lightening thing. I feel like as long as definitely you're not projecting that onto other people and telling them, oh, you should do this, you should do that. Like, if you're just keeping it to yourself, that's your thing. Like with the whole Pinky Doll situation, I didn't think that was cool how people dragged her, honestly. Like, if she wants to use a filter, that's her damn business. Pinky Doll basically did the exact same thing that Kim Kardashian does by changing her appearance and getting attention from that by creating shock value, but also, a beautiful woman will always get attention. So, it kind of was what it was to me. And so going back to red bones and skin bleaching accusations, I want to talk about a situation that happened a few years back when Masika Anderson, who is on Love and Hip Hop LA, I believe. So she posted a picture of her courtside at a basketball game, and she had literally the exact same type of like bleach blonde 613-ish type of wig that Beyonce had in her picture. And of course, Masika Anderson, like I said, is a similar skin color to Beyonce. And somebody left a comment under her picture accusing her of skin bleaching, but basically saying like, oh, you look very light. I hope you're not skin bleaching. That's literally what the comment says. And I'm going to put it on the screen. I'm just not going to read it verbatim. But anyway, so Masika clapped back or whatever. And that actually happened to Masika twice, where somebody accused her of bleaching her skin, and both times, it was like the same situation with Beyonce, where she was in like super bright light, looked a little washed out because of the flash or just the lighting in the area, and had on a 613 blonde bust down. And so it seems to be something about the 613 blonde bust downs on red bones that people think, or just light skinned women in general. Hair color does change, like it changes how you look. It does change your look. So it does impact that. And so it's interesting how like these women wearing these blonde wigs is getting that reaction from people and, sparking these accusations. And like I said, I think a lot of it is about the lighting in these situations, with a mixture of the wig. So I think it's a little bit of both. But both times are just super unnecessary. I mean, how obnoxious is that to end under somebody's picture and say, oh, I hope you're not skin bleaching. And they do this to celebrities all the time. They've even done it to brown skin celebrities like Jada Wanda, where she got like some type of facial or something. And she just looked like she had fresh face, like, had just, if you've ever seen anybody who's done a actual facial, that's how she looked. But anyway, people accused her of bleaching her skin also. And it's just really corny, and like I said, it's antagonistic, and they're just doing that to antagonize these baddies and try to bring them down a notch and try to accuse them of doing something self-hating to, make themselves look pretty. And it's just really obnoxious, like I said. And insecure haters like that who make these accusations about people, no matter what their skin tone is, of the person that they're accusing of bleaching, or the skin tone of the person who's making the bleaching accusation, because that is a thing as well. But it's really just shaming tactics, and like I said, to try to be antagonistic, but it really is shaming to try to prevent you from doing anything that in their perception enhances your beauty. And to people who have this type of mentality, enhancing your beauty to their eyes means trying to look closer to a Eurocentric standard in their opinion, even though, like I mentioned before, everybody switched up their looks. Everybody's, changing up their, their look to look ambiguous or more a different group than they are. So it's interesting how when black women do it, there are all these accusations, but when everybody else does it, it's just fashionistic and, just playing with your aesthetics. So it's really interesting. And the shaming tactics unfortunately do work, because while I was making this video, a rapper who's named Lakia, and she's kind of an up and coming rapper. She's younger, but check her out if you're not familiar with her. But she had recently done the platinum blonde wig as well. And I saw her post on Snapchat saying something about how she feels like the platinum blonde hair looks too washed out on her. She's like light skin. She's high yellow though. And yeah, and she was over here saying that she looks too washed out with it. And it's like, where do you think she got that from? Do you think she got that from her own ideas, or do you think that she got that from seeing all these narratives and hearing what people say? Because I think the blonde looks fine. I think everybody's wearing the 613 bust down, so I don't understand why all of a sudden you look washed out and it's a problem when it's light-skinned women. But whatever, I'm not going to keep picking at this topic, but it really is a shaming tactic, and to try to prevent you from enhancing your beauty or doing anything that they feel would make you more desirable in certain people's eyes, honestly. But that was the last topic I wanted to cover in this video. Get in the comment section, let me know what you thought about this topic. Have you had any of these experiences? What are your thoughts on the public's reaction to Beyonce's Renaissance picture? What are your thoughts on my commentary about Thompson, as well as the skin bleaching accusations and the accusations being made against a lot of mixed and light-skinned women about being fake or not being honest about their true phenotype or looks? Get in the comment section, let me know your thoughts. Thank you for watching. Have a good one. Thank you for all the support. Bye bye. Thank you.